G'day everybody, how you going today? It is so good to see you. I do hope you are super well. And this week is Z8 week. Yes, it's arriving. Thousands of people are going to be very happy. Are you going to your local store? Are you expecting a courier at the door? Or is there something else? How are you getting your Z8? Please let me know in the comments below. And in celebration, this is all this is. In celebration of the lead up to the Z8 being in thousands of people's hands, I thought I would try on over 20 different lenses from all sorts of manufacturers: Sony, Meike, Pergear, Laowa, and of course, Nikon Z and Nikon F. So in no particular order, because we have an absolute menagerie of lenses here, we're just going to get straight on into it. Now, of course, we all know how much I love the absolutely ridiculous 85mm 1.2. There it is right there. It's absolutely gorgeous, and even so, this is a sizable lens considering what it is. It looks good and it feels good. And it will be controversial, but I do have a filter on there because that's how I fly. And I may as well update my thoughts from the previous video. The one difference for me, unlike perhaps a lot of other photographic users, is I'm often in environmentally difficult locations. For instance, just last week, I was photographing in a rubbish dump and we were looking at shredding machines. And this is for recycling. So this is for the earth, this is for good. And we were getting close to these recycling machines, you know, close enough. And there were a lot of particles of all sorts of stuff in the air. You just want to protect that front element. Anyway, we can talk about that another time. There it is. There is the 85mm 1.2 looking good and feeling good. There it is. Oh, and that in-body image stabilization. Absolutely love it. All right, we're going to move quick because there is a lot to get through. The well-loved and the super impressive next 85mm, the 85mm 1.8. It looks really nice, really well proportioned. And yes, I do know that the sun is streaming in here. I quite like it as a look, and we'll just see how we'll go. We'll see how the dynamic range goes and everything else. But there you go, that's the 85mm 1.8. Great lens, amazing resolving power, thoroughly recommended, highly recommended by me. The 24 to 70, 2.8, love this lens. I think it's a great lens. It's useful for a lot of people. Very common. Now, I did hear an idea for a great lens, and you can vote below about this lens. Who would like a 35 to 85? I think it was an f2. Great idea. Just let me know in the comments below. You know what? Maybe I'll put up a poll. Yeah, let's do that. Again, another stunning lens. It's obviously been super duper optimized from an IBIS perspective. It's just so smooth. Can't believe it. Love it. Next, yes, indeed, the 24 to 200. I love this lens. What a great all-rounder lens. It can be used, obviously, as a holiday lens, a family lens, for all sorts of interesting situations. Look, it is an f4 to a 6.3, so it's slower than some, but it's really sharp, really useful, and really long. And it's got VR in it, so it's double stabilized. And when you think about with this camera, the Z8, also the Z9, you can go to that 2.3 crop when you're shooting 4K 120 and 100 frames per second. You go out to 460mm, pretty useful. And in DX at 200, you go out to 300mm and you still get almost 20 megapixels. So a really useful all-rounder lens that also comes with VR as well. So that's cool. And again, nicely weighted, feels good, feels really good. That feels exactly like everything is correct and just super duper stable. Third party action, here it is. This is a Meike. Now this is the Meike. It's a 50mm 1.2. It's all metal, it looks beautiful. I love it. I've done a review about it. Check it out there. It's nice, it's good, it's fun, it's manual, it's affordable if you want such a fast lens. And yeah, no, that feels really good. And of course, don't forget with manual lenses like this where no data is passed from the lens to the camera, you can dial in what this lens is into the camera and then the IBIS works correctly for it. So don't forget that. Then it works the dream. You've got IBIS, and the only thing you're missing is focus, but with focus peaking as well as focus magnification, you can get critical focus with lots of different subjects. I wouldn't recommend it for birds in flight. All right, let's keep going. All right, next lens. This is the Pergear 35mm 1.4 for APS-C. Obviously, yeah, it's all about the camera here, and the lens is quite small, you don't really feel it. But you can still use it. You can still get almost 20 megapixels. You can still shoot in 4K in cropped mode. Obviously, you can still shoot in 180 in crop mode. I think there's a crop mode. Can anyone tell me? I've never tried, but I think it's probably in there. So lenses, APS-C lenses are still useful on a full frame camera, especially in the Nikon Z range. All right, our first F-mount lens with the F to Z adapter. And this is one of my old classic tilt shift lenses. There it is there. Love this lens. I've been using it for years. This is the 24, a 3.5 tilt shift lens, and well, it's fully manual, so you don't need any metadata to come through because it's fully manual anyway, and obviously no problems working with this lens. I would like to see them updated, but to be honest, this lens is still working absolutely fine. And I've now got in-body image stabilization, and that, well, that rocks. It rocks being able to add in-body image stabilization to a lens that never had it. We're going to go with another third-party lens here, and this is the Viltrox 50mm 1.8. Now, I think this was the first lens that Viltrox ever sent me. I think it's a good-looking lens. It achieves well. It's not up with the Nikon Z 50mm 1.8 standard, but it's pretty close, and it's pretty good for the price. And I believe it doesn't have the same level of weather sealing, but it is an autofocus lens. It does give you all the data, and I can change the aperture. So this is a great option for those who want to get lots of lenses for a more affordable price. Looks good, feels good. We're going to go with the 14 to 24 2.8. What a lovely lens. There it is right there. Looks good, really nicely balanced. Yes, that feels great. And obviously super wide, like that is so wide. And of course, stabilized, yep. That's ridiculous. You know, I think it's time for me to make a video about this lens. I'm not sure I've made one yet. The 14 to 24 2.8 is an absolutely optical stellar lens, and there is the 14 to 30mm f4 as another option. You can go either way. The other one's cheaper, so, and smaller, lighter. It's got its pros and cons. A Mamiya, a medium format lens, which I got an adapter for this very purpose of putting it on. It's crazy, but it actually works. There you go. A Mamiya lens that I've had, I think, for 30 years. Might be slightly more than 30. 1992, 93, 94, somewhere around there. Still got the camera, still got about 3 or 4 lenses for it. Here's one of them. And it's quite strange that you can, we've got to cock this thing now. No, I've got to remember. There we go. There we go. Now we've cocked it. And straight away, you can just see that it does not have all of the elements in it that we're used to for cutting out flare and so on. But it is here, and it is working. How ridiculous is that? Medium format, adapted to 35mm Z with in-body image stabilization. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a video about this, just for crazy reasons. This is a travel lens I purchased when I traveled to the UK in 2005 for a friend's wedding. I was the best man, and this was the lens. Now this is a DX lens, so we're getting cropping. The camera knows we're getting cropping. Not as fast as the Z lens, that's for sure. But here we have this old lens from about, I want to say 2004, 2005, F-mount lens, travel lens, DX lens. Still works, still great. If you have it, you can still use it. You get 2 times VR in the lens, IBIS in the body. Fantastic. 18 to 200, 3.5 to 5.6 GED. And with that DX crop, of course, you get out to 300mm in APS-C, 20 megapixels. Here's another DX lens, which is a fun lens. It's a kit lens that comes with the Nikon Z APS-C cameras. It's the 50 to 250mm. It's a useful lens. Again, you're getting 20 megapixels, 250 on the long end, which I think gets you out of 375mm. What's to complain about that? Very small, very light. That is a ton of reach. Autofocus, everything is fast. Yeah, it's just impressive. And with the double VR, wow, I'm moving and this thing is not moving. I'm going to make a video about that because that's a bit ridiculous what I just saw. This with its sister lens, which is this one here. This is the 16-50, which comes in a kit, often comes in a kit, these lenses. It's a great option for travel, and it's even relevant on your full frame cameras. You're still getting almost exactly the same as on the Z50, ZFC, or Z30. Alrighty, now we're going to get into the Sony magic. And here we have the Sony 55mm 1.8. This is a lens that I purchased when I first bought my very first mirrorless 35mm camera. In 2013, it was the A7R, which I still have, and I got this lens and a couple of other lenses. Anyway, let's pop it on with the latest version of the Megadap E to Z adapter. All right, there it is. That's what it looks like. Let's see what it's going to do for me. Yep, we have full, silent, autofocus, aperture control, and stabilization. So that is working exactly the same as it does on my Sony cameras, because I have the A7R III as well. Great result. So while we're doing Sonys, let's have a look at two more. And here we have the ZEISS 85 1.8 on loan from my friend Bruce Connolly. And hopefully I'll be getting back his A7R5 soon. But there it is. Looks good, feels good, and we would expect full functionality from, and yes, we are getting it. It's a slow to focus lens, definitely slow to focus, but it is completely working, and we can change apertures. So there you go. There is a ZEISS Sony E-mount lens functioning no problem and looking great on the Nikon Z8. Nikon Z8, here we go. We are probably just over the halfway mark. And then we have the venerable 24 to 105 f4. Great lens, great travel lens. It's a full frame lens. Fantastic. Interestingly, Nikon got their 24 to 120 f4 out, which is smaller. And we'll be looking at that next. But this is the Sony lens. And we can see we're getting full AF, full IBIS, and full aperture control. And that is working fantastically. Yep, very fast. Very happy with that. So for those that are interested, let me know in the comments and I can make a whole video about this, but I'm definitely going to be making a video about E-mount lenses on the Z8 using the adapter. There it is there. I think it looks pretty cool. This is the Nikon 24 to 120 f4. Lovely creation, superb lens, ridiculously sharp, amazing travel all-rounder lens. I would see this as an absolutely wonderful combo. And if you just wanted to get two lenses and you were into travel and wildlife, you'd probably get something like this lens, the 24 to 120, and then maybe the 200 to 600. And just in those two lenses, you're covering a bunch of stuff. That's awesome. There it is there. It feels great. It's extremely well stabilized. It's very, very fast. There's just, you know, everything's happening here. And of course, it's a Nikon Z lens, so it works really well. Okay. From an industrial design perspective, this to me looks the best on this camera so far, I think. Just proportion-wise and styling-wise, it's a classic 50mm, I suppose, and 50mm have always looked very good on SLRs and DSLRs. To me, they all look good, so let's not get too caught up on that, but I think proportions here are great. For the price, it's a very affordable 50mm prime, but you get very, very high quality results from this lens. And the only other one you might consider is the one that we're shooting on right now, which is the 50mm 1.2. That's there, so we won't be using that here, but I know it works because I used it the other day. And over here, our close-up is the 105 MC, and again, another lens that would work super well. No issues, of course. Another lens in roughly the same class and looking pretty similar is this lens right here, the 35mm 1.8 S. Pretty much I have the same things to say about this lens as I did the previous one. It's just great. It just works. It punches above its weight. It looks very cool. It might even look slightly cooler than the previous lens. What do you think? Let me know. All right, here's another Viltrox lens that I think they did a really good job with. I think it's a really nicely designed lens. It looks good. This is the 85 1.8, and it's a good lens. It's not as good as the Nikon one. Chromatic aberration's not as good. Weather sealing's not quite there, but it does have a much lower price tag. So it's a great option. Here it is with the Z8, latest firmware, and it's definitely absolutely working, focusing, and aperture is working as well. Great choice. Great choice if you want to have a super budget set of primes. Another lens that I really like is this 40mm right here. It's just such a great little lens. It's an f2. It works really well. It's light, it's easy to carry. And as you can see, it looks good here. And well, it's a Z-class lens. It's not an S-class lens, but you know, optically and actually using it, it's not very far off an S-class lens from my perspective. Check out the video here. Here is the 16 to 50. Look, it's an APS-C lens, very light, very small. If you wanted to travel very light and very small, the 16 to 50 and the 50 to 250 are a great option. You do only get APS-C, but maybe 20 megapixels or just shy of is enough for you. Nice. This is the Laowa 14mm manual lens. So this is a full frame 14mm, and yes, it's very wide. Obviously it's manual, so you get all the manual stuff, but that is what it looks like on the Z8. This is a good lens. It's a fun little lens, and time for me to make another video about it, I think. Let me know in the comments below. There it is. As we come down the home straight, I'm going to show you an F-mount lens. This is what I suspect is probably the final version of the 24 to 72.8. Towards the end of this lens's career, they have put VR in it. Nikon was slowly putting VR into their lenses, but there's still probably half of the current F lenses which do not have vibration reduction in them. And if you had the previous version, which I did, I had 2 of them, no VR. And I can't remember when this one came out, but it was pretty late in the piece. It might have been 2016, 2017, something like that. Not only is the lens smaller, so we'll just have to look on this camera here, not only is the lens smaller, but well, it's a better package, isn't it? It's definitely a better package, but does it work? Yes, absolutely, it works. There's plenty of VR going on, and I doubt it has synchro VR, but it's still a great result, and you'd be very happy. You'd be very happy if you were coming from F-mount, knowing that all of your lenses work, and obviously it's only screw-driven lenses, screw-driven AF lenses, that they still work, you just don't get autofocus. But there's an enormous number of F-mount lenses which are fully electronic, and they work perfectly, if not better, because of that in-body image stabilization that we've talked about, let alone some features you get like focus peaking and focus magnification, which allows you to actually get critical focus better with lenses like the tilt shift lens that we saw before. This is a cute little lens made by TTArtisan, screw cap and everything. Look at that, isn't that cute? Now, this is an APS-C lens, fully manual, so you can either get porthole shots like I can see right now, or you can go to APS-C mode. It's a lovely little cutie. I actually think that's quite an attractive lens, and it is a 35mm 0.95. A lot of light coming through there. Look, not as sharp as Z glass, but very affordable. I think it's under $200 US. And another lens from TTArtisan. This is a 27mm 2.8, very affordable lens, looks pretty cool, super light. It's also an APS-C lens. So, you know, you're only getting your 20 odd megapixels from it. But all right, here we have a lens from Laowa. Yes, indeed, a Laowa tilt shift lens. This is a tilt shift lens. I can't put it down on the front because it has a bulb on the end of it, but it is mounted on the Z8. Weighting is good. This is an all metal construction. So it is a heavier lens, but it gives you the results. And it does that by allowing you to do this. And that corrects perspective, which is pretty cool if you think about it. This is a 15mm f4 ultra wide shift lens, and yeah, how cool is that? This is a classic up there with the 24-70 2.8 and the 14-24 2.8. It feels good, balance is good, focus is good. It's a Z9 experience. And now what we'll do is pop the 2x teleconverter on there. And this takes us out to 400 mils optically, and then you can go to APS-C, 600 mils, and you can go to 2.3 crop. And we're at almost 900 mils when shooting in 120 frames per second 4K. It's a very powerful combination, and this combination I think would be a very interesting combination for lots of people. All right, everybody, well, I'd like to thank you all so much for joining me for this Z8 try-on, an epic number of lenses. I don't know, I think it ended up being something like 24 or 25. The Z8 is a spectacular camera. It's going to please many people. I know already, I can see it in my comments, people are looking forward to seeing the XP7 in more affordable cameras. Well, I've said this before and I'll say it again, yes, more affordable cameras are certainly going to be coming because Nikon is a camera company. They're not going to stop at the Z8. Not only that, but they have made reference to it in their latest financial report, stating that the Z9 technology will be trickling down to cameras, plural. It's only gone to one so far. So there's absolutely no question they're coming. It's just a matter of time, and I would like to think that we'll see more this year. So everybody hold tight. Even more people are going to get a camera that they want sometime soon. There is always going to be one camera that somebody's not getting. For example, my fantasy ZM, the Z medium format. Now I have an idea how that might be possible, and I have an idea how that might be possible with the lenses we have currently. And it's got something to do with sensor position. And I will bring you that video if enough people say yes. Just write yes in the comments. I'll give you my theories, because it's all just theories. I'm not an optical engineer, but I have thoughts. All right, please let me know in the comments below, are you getting a Z8? Do you have any of these lenses? Are you getting any of these lenses? Are you going to get some different lenses? If so, which, what, how, why, when? And well, it's been so good to see you. And if this is your first time here, I would absolutely love to see you again. So please do subscribe, please share, and please like, and well, happy Z8 day, the 25th of May. Bye for now.